Morning everyone, so join me back with the Rover P38, and today we're going to be changing the rear airbags. So this one has developed a leak on both of the rear airbags. I thought it was the valve block, so I rebuilt the valve block, but the rear is still going down. And what happens is it goes down over a period of 2 days, but only at the back. And here's the old one. I don't know if you can see that. It's fairly pitted, and actually it started coming apart down the bottom. And if you spray these with soapy water, you can actually see a very small amount of air coming out of them. You know, the more air they have in them, the less they leak, surprisingly. So that's the old one. I'm going to fit genuine Dunlops for the new one. As you can see, the rubber is an awful lot better, well, as you would hope. So the old ones are from 2010. So they've done all right actually. It's now 2024, and I'm going to show you how to change these. They're very easy. This is why you shouldn't put springs on, because it's so easy to change these. I've done this side, so let me show you. So to start with, I'm going to jack up the corners. I'm only doing the rear, so I'm only going to do one at a time. Just in case you've got a valve block leak, make sure you support both sides. So I've jacked up the rear under the axle, and I've put a stand, I don't know if you can see that, underneath the chassis just here. So as I take the air out, the car's obviously going to sit on the axle stands because there's nothing between the chassis and the axle. And I've put the car in high mode because it gives me a bit more room to get the airbag out. I'm not going to touch the front, however I would recommend supporting the front chassis with axle stands just in case you do have a leak in the valve block. Anyway, let's get started. So under here we have, at the top in the gap, you can see the air pipe here. So the light's not very good, but you can just about see if the camera focuses. And at the back you can see the pin, which is just there. Mine's quite corroded, but the pin looks like this, and it pushes through the top of the airbag like so. And the same for the bottom. So let me show you. You can see the pin at the bottom down there as well. Okay, and then the pipe itself, you push the little metal O-ring in, the metal collar in, and then you pull the pipe out. And then, as I say, I'm going to depressurize this with the free EA software you see in my other video, because you can do per corner. Nanocom, you can only do the rear or front, you can't do it per corner, I don't think. So let me remove this and I will be back. There we have it, as quick as that. And there's the rear original bag, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you can. Look at that. So it's all pitted and cracked. So this is the same. This is from 2010. Okay, so reassemble. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean up the inside of that, because what happens is the chassis gets a bit corroded around the top here, and it makes it a bit tight to pop out. So what I do, I just push a little bit of crowbar at the top and push against this, and it pops out, as you can see. Yours might not be as difficult as that, but this one's quite difficult. So when I put these in, I'm going to put a little bit of grease around the top here. I'm going to keep the bung in the top until I'm ready to connect the pipes so no dust gets inside, and then I'm going to push it up, and then I'm going to connect the air pipe. Now you probably won't be able to get these fully seated until they've got pressure in them, because they can be quite tight and tends to be on a slight angle. So what I do, I'm going to put them in loosely, connect the pipe, and then I'm going to gradually fill them with air using the EAS software, so I can control it, and then you'll find it will pop back into its slot so you can get the pins through. So what I'm going to do here if I can get the camera to focus, you can just see the top of the bag. It's poking up through the hole, but I can't quite get it seated because there's not quite enough pressure, but there's enough room in there to get the hose reconnected back into that. So when I repressurize it slowly, it will then push back up into its slot. So just make sure you've got it started, and it will also do the same at the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do now. So this is what I'm going to do with the EAS software. Hopefully you can see it, the sun's sort of right behind me, but so we're going to put the engine running and put it initialised, and then the height sensors you can get individually. So what I'm going to do, because obviously it thinks it's still at a certain height because of the axle stands, I'm just going to pump it up by clicking the up arrow here, and what it does, it gradually increments the air into the bag individually. So I'm going to click it through. I don't know if you can hear that, but you can hear it inflating. So gradually inflating. Now she's pushed herself back into the bottom, and the top is almost in place. So just watch it when you do this so you don't snag the pipe, but I've got quite a lot of clearance on that. So I'm just going to finish seating that, and then once you've done, you can then push these pins through the top and the bottom. Now the reason I do it like this is because you can't get these pins in very easily unless they're completely sitting flush. So let me finish that. So it's now inflated, and you can just about see the holes ready for this new pin to go through, and the same for the bottom there. And when these inflate, they do make some quite alarming noises as they start to twist, but as long as you've got support, even if the worst case, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to put the rest of this back together, and that is that done. Alright, so I'm going to wrap that up again. So that's how you change the rear airbags. As I say, it's so easy. So start to finish, that's 15 minutes. So 15 minutes roughly per side. It's the first time, maybe a bit longer, but the fronts are very easy as well. Virtually the same, but you do have to take the inner liner out to get to them. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. That's how you change the rear airbags on a P38.